Welcome to the farm. This is my sister's backyard. This is Fort Payne, Alabama, the place that I was born and raised. Without the existence of this place, I would not be who I am. This is a mountain valley town, meaning that mountain you see in the background, that's where I grew up, on that mountain. But then to come down to school, you had to come down into the valley. So about half the population is the valley and half of it's on the town. Fort Payne, Alabama, the place where the country group Alabama is from, and I am the same age as their kids, grew up with them here. This is my sister's backyard. Isn't it beautiful? Now, what I figured I should do while my kids are inside my sister's house, watching them and getting to spend time with them, hey, let's shoot some videos based on some comments I've received. I feel like I've kind of neglected some a little bit here recently. So I wanted to, here's one. Norwood 3, should I try modern college cut again but modified? That was the video I made. Our good friend Andy Pham had this to say, quote, "Hey Nick, what age could you grow a beard and when did you become a vegan?" End quote. Great question, and I see that as those questions connected and related to hair loss, of course. If you've been watching this channel, you know why those are connected and related to hair loss. At what age could I grow a beard? Officially 16. As far as when I define grow a beard, that means it grew all along the jawline, all the way across the chin, all the way across the mustache, and connected. Now at age 16 it still was a little bit kind of bare in here, but it connected all the way through. And if I shaved it, then the next morning I'd have stubble all the way where the beard was. And at age 16, that wasn't something that most 16-year-old boys could do. I remember, for example, that summer, I was very involved in my youth group at church, and I was, of course, elected to play Jesus. Of course, Jesus was closer to the age of 33 when he was crucified on the cross and died for our sins. But because it was a youth group, a 16-year-old played Jesus with the beard because I could grow one. And of course I had the right complexion for it as well. But either way, not a lot of guys could even grow a full beard even if they didn't have the right complexion. It was not quite the norm. So, and again, my whole theory. If you can grow a full beard by 16, before you graduate high school, it's a good sign there's a more likelihood you're going to start losing your hair before the age of 35, and beyond just a Norwood 2, like Norwood 3 or beyond, by age 35. And I also, from what I can understand, if you are Norwood 3 or greater by age 35, there's a greater chance you're going to lose most of your hair, as you progress. If you can make it to Norwood, if you can be only Norwood 2 by the time you're age 35, there's a good chance you're going to maintain most of your hair. That's everything I've observed. The experts like Robert and Maxwell Smart can prove me wrong if they like. I'm always welcome to that. But that's my theory. So let me just kind of rewind and talk about that again. So what I'm saying is, if you're like me and grew a full beard by the time you graduated high school, like me, age 16, and you're playing Jesus in your youth group, if that's you, then you're probably going to be like me. By the time you're 35, you're already Norwood 3, which is a great sign that you're going to keep losing your hair as you get older. And I haven't really talked about that much. So let me just say that out loud, and that should probably be what this video is about. That if you are still Norwood 2 by age 35, there's a good chance you'll still hold on to most of your hair. But that also goes back to my other theory that Robert doesn't like, that look at your photo at age 1 of your hairline, which is a projection of how you will look at age 35. And the reason that's so important, because again, I'm theorizing that if you're still Norwood 2 or 1 by age 35, you're going to probably keep most of your hair most of your life. So that's why that picture is so important of you at age 1, to look at that hairline. You've seen mine, you've seen how it perfectly matches up to me at age 35, and it also goes back to the beard theory as well. So to me, that's common sense, it's obvious, it's a theory, and of course, as you know, I will only talk about the theory if I also put on there that part of the theory itself is 80% of the time that's true. 20% of the people are exceptions to the rule. Never share with me and say, Nick, I know a guy that's an exception. Nick, I'm an exception. What's my response? I don't care. I'm not impressed, because you're the 20% exception. There's a 20% exception rate. 80% of the time this is accurate, according to Nick Shell. Now, the other question was, at what age did I become a vegan? I'm 36 and a half now. I've been a vegan for 4.5 years. It was actually a few weeks before I turned 32 is when it was. So, you know, because it was like March 6, 2013. Would that be right? So my age, 36 minus 4, that'd be 32. But it was a few weeks before that. So I was like 31 years old and like, 50 weeks or something. I don't know. So, there's been some speculation that it's possible that me being a vegan can slow down my hair loss, just the same as if maybe the rosemary and argan oil that I've been using for 10 months now has also slowed it down too. I'll always remain skeptical on both of those things, just because I really believe that our DNA determines whether or not we lose our hair by a certain age. So I think even if you technically in theory slow it down, you're just kind of fighting the inevitable. And I don't want to have to depend on using oil on my head to save my hair. If that's what it takes, I'm like, I don't really care anyway. As far as me being a vegan, I don't ever see myself not being a vegan because I've got such horrible allergy and sinus problems if I consume meat and dairy again, and it's just not worth it to me. So thank you for asking that question. Such a simple question yields such an agenda, such Nick shell theories that not everyone buys into, and a lot of people don't, and that's cool. I think it's great that we can at least discuss these things and talk about these things that most of the world doesn't talk about. Remember, I invented the theories about the beard before you graduate and your 1-year-old photo. No one ever talked about that until me, so you know what? You're welcome.